So, what's up in our little industry?
Well, as always, a few things I came across over the last couple of days, if you don't mind sharing my screen.
In general, I do not.
All
So here
right.
we are.
Perfect. First thing, we don't know what's in this yet. At least I haven't seen the patch notes updated yet for what's new in Intune. But the July release of Intune is now being rolled out in the APAC region, so we should be seeing that in the rest of the world over the next couple of days as well. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that, and I'm almost certain that we'll be updating folks next week on what was actually in those patch notes. So keep.
Yeah, I've been refreshing that web page, the what's new in Intune page, hoping they will post something, but nope.
Oh, we'll have to keep refreshing.
Yep.
Also on the topic of updates, I came across this tweet from Sam mentioning that the Graph PowerShell module has been updated to 229.1, which is all well and good. But I did want to point this out because we've talked about this quite a bit over the last year and a half or so. But Sam is somebody I follow and trust his judgment on these things. No known significant issues since a couple of releases back, which is huge. We had a short stretch there as we were migrating over to this version of the PowerShell module. So I'm happy to see, at least over these last several releases, we've gotten a little bit more stability, which is very important, obviously. There are so many modules and scripts and tasks and everything that we do that rely on that particular module. That it's just something that has to maintain stability for us to be able to do our jobs effectively. So very happy to see that, and I will be updating my modules this evening. That's for sure. Also came across this post from Uger, who seems to be putting out a new tool or solution once a week now at this point. But thought this was pretty cool, an Intune monitoring dashboard that uses Azure workbooks. So he released this with a few tabs that are populated right out of the gate, but I know that said here in the post that he's working on more. It's pretty straightforward to get this set up. Basically, browse over to IntuneMonitoring.com, and there's a little video and a couple of blurbs of text, depending on how you like to read through things, on how to get this set up. And when he says it takes about 60 seconds, I would say that that was pretty accurate in my experience. Actually went ahead and got this workbook configured in my tenant yesterday. And you can see here, we've got a nice overview of how many devices I have enrolled in my tenant, how many are actually active, company-owned versus personal devices, compliance status, some nice stuff there. And then as we go across, we have some device activities. We have a compliance page. And then we have these other tabs here that Uber's working on filling in right now. Or over time, I expect these to be populated based on his post here. So really cool to see another community dashboard around monitoring in Intune and seeing what's actually going on with our devices in our tenant. And on that topic, Uber also had an update to his IntuneRBAC tool. Basically, so this is a tool that you can run to report on who has access to specific permissions. Some of those permissions are fairly broad, where you could do you can do some not so great things with some of those permissions if you're not careful. And so, of course, in a lot of cases, we want to follow that principle of least privilege for security. And Uger's tool here will help identify where you may have some more broad permissions than you really need. So some of the updates that he added in this version of this tool actually shows you a risk score based on the permissions for the roles that you have out there in your organization in Intune. So would recommend checking this out as well. And then last but not least, came across this post from Joe Lovelace on finding group policy settings by category. Absolutely recommend if you are even starting down your journey into implementing Intune into a hybrid environment, recommend going through this post because that's exactly what Joe kind of talks through here, and has put out a script to help identify specific GPOs that you have in your Active Directory forest or forests in Joe's case, to help identify and figure out, do I really need these policies before I move them over to Intune? Something that not only Johan and I have talked at length about in our training, in office hours and things like that, but that's a common thing that you're going to hear from anybody that's worked through this process or is working through this process, is evaluate your group policies. Really ask yourself, does the organization still need them today? Some of those questions are going to be a lot easier to answer. But you're going to have others where you may be blocking something that it made sense to do that 10 years ago, but maybe it doesn't anymore. So this is another tool in our toolbox for us to help report on those things, review them with our teams, and identify whether or not they actually need to move to Intune. Because the old mantra, garbage in, garbage out, we don't want that. We want to review these things before we move to Intune. So thank you, Joe, for putting this together. Nice script, provides a nice report here where you can actually identify these things on a little bit better basis, I think. So that was what I had for this week. Community's busy as always, Johan.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Let's see. I did have one thing that made me super excited. I can find my screen in this little mix here. Looks like my screen. All right.
I agree.
That one, and that was not Andrew's screen. That was Andrew himself. I was planning on muting that screen. Here we go. Sorry about that, sir. Too many buttons. But our friend Connected Cache was announced general available today.
Awesome.
So very excited. I appreciate that he did that for us here on office hours, of course, in a timely fashion. But so I saw that, and then I immediately, all right, what do I need to do to upgrade? So I went into the Azure portal where I had my my connected cache servers. So they did remove the preview also from the portal itself. You'll see that in a minute when I log in. This says here in still on the short name here, but when you actually click it now, you can see that the preview is gone. So here I have my two nodes. They are still running the old build. I haven't upgraded yet. I tried, but failed miserably. But it says that the current preview cache nodes will cease to function on September 14 this year. So make sure that you upgrade those before then. But what you have to do is actually install a new package. They changed to have the script available into an APAC package that you have to download. And let's see if there is a link to it here. There is not. If I go to one of the nodes, in the deployment tab, there will find a link to that package. I cannot show it right now because it will also show all the various secret keys at the same time to my cache node, and I don't want them on YouTube. But they are available there. And then when you run that script, you install that APAC package, and then you push the location to that APAC package, and that will take you to that folder. And this is where you will see, let's see what the script was named. this one here, which is the installation script, which I try to run on this system. Uh, it didn't go fantastically well. Uh, it didn't like my very much existing Ubuntu distro. It didn't like that mine was called Ubuntu default and they expected Ubuntu 2404. So the script returned with a zero, which is usually happiness. But if you scroll up the different logs, uh, well, it was not entirely happy. So I had to also install Hyper-V. That was a new change in this release, but I will get it going and I will blog about it. And we can talk about the setup next week when I figured out how it's done.
Sounds great. I noticed in the release notes too that it said the cache nodes can support Intune and Teams content via HTTPS.
Yes, that is a fantastic news because Teams can be, that content can be pretty large, those updates. So, yeah, let's see if I can find that little snippet. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very nice. Always excited to see more content being able to be cached, right?
Oh, yeah, we like caching. I've been spending the last couple of weeks doing some testing for a company that involved pretty much all of my Hyper-V hosts at home. I have a couple of hundred VMs running now. So even the demo machine I'm using here, it's starting to get just a little bit tired from all the VMs running on top of it. Almost using up all the half a terabyte of memory on it. But if I hadn't had cache service available, I can tell you the internet link would have been screaming at me at this point. So very happy for the connected cache. All right.